And see, the truth gives us the ability to deal with each other where we were at. And then once we walk away from that, then I'm not looking at you bitter like the relationship didn't work because of you. They say, you know what? You weren't present for me, but I cut off a part of myself. So we are both responsible. We are both complicit. And therefore, it didn't work because we didn't work it. See, people think relationships don't work. People don't work.
Oh, yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So if the relationship, it's like, well, my relationship didn't work. I'm like, so you didn't work it? You know?
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, and I'm using myself as an example really because as I was going through the book, this is what came back to me. I got divorced, and years later, I called my ex-husband and I told him, I said, I'm very sorry that I wasn't the wife that you deserve and that I could have been. And that's because I had come to that place of truth where I knew exactly why the relationship didn't work. A lot of times people don't get there and they remarry. And so you talked a little bit about the first clean the obvious dirt. The filth that you've been promising to clean for the last 100 years, grudges and all of that kind of stuff. People don't get to that place of truth.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because you have to deal with you. So like I said, it's easy to say, oh, he's a bad person or he's a bad person. But then when you got to point to yourself and like, I'm not such a good person. I mean, that's not something anybody really wants to say. And then it's not befitting to us socially because it doesn't make us look good. And then it's not befitting to us personally because now we're at this dichotomy where we say we value a certain type of lifestyle and a certain kind of person, and we're not that person. So what it's saying is like, I really don't like me. And there are aspects of me I really don't like. And if I met me on the street, I wouldn't like me. So what I have to do if I want to deal with myself without becoming bipolar or having this great dichotomy, I have to act like they're justified or they don't exist. And then that way I can live with myself without changing myself. But I mean, you know how hard it is to say people who steal from people are evil, and then you steal from people, and then you have to say you're not evil.
Yeah,
you know what kind of lie you have to tell yourself and believe and internalize to get that way? You know how psychotic you become? Because you're caught between this dichotomy where it's like, I can't say that. I can't say that because then I'll say I'm evil. Now I'm not evil. I'm a good person. So now I got to come up with something real quick to make myself look real good in this situation. Well, I stole from him because he didn't deserve to have it. It's just,
But we're laughing right now, but people do that all the time in relationships. And this is why, people come out with these books and they say, you have to do this, that, and that. And they're really not dealing with the truth of what relationships need to be about.
And that's the difference between my book. There is no have to. One guy said, so I'm going to have a perfect relationship after this. I said, no, you have the ability to have a perfect relationship, but heck, if I gave you a flashlight, I couldn't guarantee you were going to see in the dark because I can't make you turn it on. Anybody who gives you any absolute guarantee like that is either God or a crackhead.
Yeah, really.
Let's be for real. But what happened in this book is 100% practical application. Everything in it is usable no matter what your situation, how happy or sad you might be. And that's the reason I wrote it. Because I was tired of seeing all this mumbo jumbo, like the book, Why Men Cheat. I'm like, if that book is more than a page long, it's a lie.
And that whole thought is coming back just a couple of weeks ago on, online and, on the radio and on television. They were talking about how if somebody did research about why men cheat. I'm like, we don't need to know why men cheat. People need to start looking at themselves and all the stuff that they have. And that was before I read your book, actually. So right now, let's segue to a poem. Do you have one that you want to share?
Yeah, I can do one.
Okay.
This is a poem I wrote that got away from like all of the just physicality of love, and because people like writing these love poems, they had nothing to do with love. It was, emotional, sexual, just blah. So this is called Can I? 300 miles separate us. Every time I see you, I create us from the essence of everything that I've hoped for. Form you from the substance of everything that I prayed for. Loving God is why I live, but loving you is what I was made for. From hours that felt like seconds, I remember you. Mimicking leaves, I blush and fall to your feet. In the September view, build castles from the snow in the December view. In the spring, I sing your praises as our castles disappear into the soil, feeding flowers that sneak into view. And every morning I wake with a desire to conquer the distance between us.
Wow.
Even if it just meant placing a rose at your door. Each time with a card that read, I wanted to write what I felt, but it was much too hard, until one day the card would read, these are questions to give you an idea of what I'm trying to say, and I hope I'm not out of place, but can I pour you into a glass of forever and see what you taste like? Undress, show soul, so I can know what you look like. Let your heart pump blood through me so I can understand what you feel like you understand what you feel. Can I steal your worries and your fears, analyze them and break them down until I know what the beginning of your tears sounds like? Can I write a poem across your favorite star for you to read at night? Maybe find a dragon to slay or a giant to fight for the chance that you might touch my face, and for a moment find a trace of what you dream of, possibly fall in love forever young, years melting like honey on the tongue, verses of serenity flying on angels' wings. Life becomes sweeter as I sip your lips in rhythm to life's perfect meter. And yes, I remember going to sleep to give you my ribs. So can I be the ink flowing from your pen? Because poetry is a heart song, and we must sing to live. And if everything be right, can we create life? Can I watch you breastfeed our seed as we reminisce on the bliss that created him, as we rock him to sleep in hours too late to be day and too early to be night? Can I hold you with arms and eyes tight until age takes my strength, time takes my sight, and my lungs can no longer hold the breath of life? Can I?
Wow. That is a poem. I mean, that is just really powerful. And you know, I do have poets come in and perform, so maybe you can come back another time just for the poetry part of
Okay.
it. Yeah, that's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I want to talk a little bit about this whole thing. People get so caught up about love and what love does. Love is the answer. It's the ultimate. And so talk to me a little bit about that. On page 55, it said, love motivates to be the superhero so we can save ourselves. And I was like, I have a question mark. What?
Okay. Love conquers all. I'm just going to read from the book. Looking at the world around us kills this myth totally. Love is not a superhero who swoops in to save the day. Love motivates us to be superheroes so we can save ourselves. Love is the perfect spice. It motivates us to eat. It doesn't force us to. Don't fool yourself into thinking that putting love in a relationship is enough to get someone to participate in it. As mentioned before, love has many facets and purposes, but it's not the universal band-aid or fix-all. Love gives us the opportunity to make the best of a situation and get the most out of it, but it doesn't fix the state of affairs. Love is the fuel that gives us the strength and energy to conduct repairs. However, some situations are better left broke, or at least left alone. And that's what it gets into. Love is, for instance, for the meat eaters, pepperoni on pizza. But just because you like pepperoni on pizza doesn't mean you're going to eat it every time you see it. You can't replace the fact that there has to be a hunger or a desire that draws you to the pizza. So what happens is we try to take out those untangible aspects like desire and situation and condition and say that love under every situation makes things right. No. Love is the spice or the encouragement to try to right every wrong, to try to create smiles. But there also has to be a love and desire. There has to be something outside of that love. It has to be a desire, a wanting, a longing, a purpose. So I always tell people love is necessary, but it's not sufficient.